I just want to say we have a special guest here.
We have a special guest. He's just going to come on
Penn.
in.
Well, you know what? Do you want to just get into this? We can't talk about Vancouver the whole time.
We can't.
Tom Penn, ladies and gentlemen, our illustrious leader.
I have to get his levels going. Hold on.
Is this live?
You are live.
Take a seat.
You're live in our room. I mean.
You are our second segment, so we're going to get your thoughts on something really quick, and then we'll get into the second segment. This is a fluid situation, so the door is always open if anyone wants to walk in on our podcast.
I like that.
All right. How's his mic?
Check 1, 2.
I'm working.
Check,
now he's
check,
good. Yeah,
check.
that's the Tom Penn I know.
Check 1, 2.
Tom, can I tell?
Don't get in the red.
Before we go into Tom's longer interview, can I just tell you, going to the Christmas party last year,
Yes.
my partner Cody, she says to me, "Who is everyone?" I go, "Well, there's a lot of people." So I'm trying to name off names. I go, "This blah blah," and I go, "I think Tom's gonna be there." I go, "You know what? You'll hear him talk. You'll know he's a president. Just hear his voice. It's the tenor of your voice. You can just tell that man is team president." So
well, thank you.
So that was her introduction to you.
See, with Tom, with me, he's like he's a team president. But look, I've worked for a lot of people, and people in authoritative positions sometimes are intimidating. I'm not saying you aren't, because you got to make some big decisions to come in. But I've always felt so comfortable coming through the doors, and you're always very welcoming. And I just.
Well, that means a lot, because that's how it should be.
It should be that way.
I mean, we're in sports and entertainment, for crying out loud, and if we can't enjoy this, we got something wrong. But you know how it works. It's like any other job. You get into the challenges and the personalities, and there's conflict, and then there's resolution, and we just got to keep moving upward.
I figure there's something in your upbringing where you're very polite, you're very welcoming, you bring people in, you create an environment where I can go in any office. I swear, look, wherever I work for, it was you get to sort of make an appointment. Go, hey, can I come and see you? I don't feel that around here. I'm not going to barge in your office or anything, but
it's not. But it's not just me. This is the club, right? I mean, when we founded this thing, we wanted to be unifying at every level. And if you can't do that within your own culture, you're never going to do it for the community. So we've tried to be as open and unifying and collaborative as possible internally. And it's still a battle, right? You have 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You have little
keep
hiccups.
it going all the as good. Even when it's really, really good, you have to say, all right, how do we keep it here? How do we find that next step? Even though sometimes you feel like, does it get better than this? Because I've had a couple moments with this club that time where like, this can't get any better. Yeah. But you got to find that next step. And I think you guys are always thinking that way.
It can always get better, and it needs to. You need to grow, and we need to evolve. And we're really just getting started.
Do you have any thoughts on the Vancouver game?
Some X's and O's.
I've already forgotten it.
Good.
Okay.
Good thoughts. What?
Look, it was one of those MLS road games midweek. Bad turf, all the excuses. You know the rest of the excuses.
We made some excuses, yeah.
We'll see. We just see how we bounce back on Sunday. I mean, we weren't gonna roll through this thing undefeated. We knew that. And really, how does the team respond? And do we sharpen our focus? And do we get after it on Sunday? Because it's going to be a big challenge.
Well, before you brought it down, I thought we weren't going to talk to Tom about Vancouver, because I didn't want to make him all dour.
I wanted to put a wrap on the Vancouver segment. We got to stop now. We got to go to the next segment.
I know, right? Max. I just had such a good segue. I think we just roll with it. Let's just roll. Really? We're rolling. Yeah, we're rolling. I want to say this. You had such a good segue.
Left-handed mic hold.
That's new for me.
Yeah. Right. By the way, welcome to our show. It's all just misdirections and cul-de-sacs and whatnot. But let me say this, Max. You brought up that how can it get better, and I think that's how people looked at it. Maybe when they came to that first game of the season. And then Dio scores SKC. It's like, that's how it gets better. And I want to ask you this question because we're now at 1 year. 1 year, the door's open. Tell me what your thoughts are feeling right now.
Anniversary, right?
Yeah.
I remember it like it was yesterday.
Ribbon cutting was yesterday.
A year ago.
Yeah. My son saw it on our social post, and I didn't realize it. And I'm normally pretty good about that. But for some reason, I think of the 29th more as the true opening day, because that was when we played. But yeah, that ribbon cutting was awesome. What a great reflection.
I remember it's a new stadium. You walk in and everything's so fresh and new. I remember going through the stairwell and it smelled just, like freshly laid cement and paint, and I loved it. But then there's this great feeling of putting time in and memories, and then you see the stadium kind of age a little bit with you. And I remember where I was sitting when this happened, And that year, I mean, obviously being new is great, and everything, but that year to me is really cool because now I look in every time I walk in that place, there's memories start rolling through, and that's just gonna the snowball. And I think the venue itself is really just it's like a sponge taking that, and there's gonna be ghosts and so forth going on there. It's really cool.
Yeah, the energy there is so joyful. We've always talked about that. That's what we sensed when it started was just you could just feel joy from everyone. And the question on how do we get better, I mean, that's our clean theme for this year is to get better in every way. So the play on the pitch has gotten better. They're more cohesive. They know each other's nuances. Carlos has elevated his play, so on and so forth. You know, Mark Anthony Kaye looks more than a year older and stronger and more confident. So you've just seen all these improvements on the pitch. The 32-52 are getting better. I mean, we don't know what they're going to do on Sunday, right? I mean,
nothing is planned by theirs. It's like this is what the new songs, the picking up the shoe, and it's all very organic.
There's a lot of organic, but I would say they do plan a lot more than you think. Like these guys know what they're doing, and to Tom's point, they're getting better and better at it. But I think part of that organic is the fact that if you plan so much, you can have those opportunities to do something fun every once in a while.
That's right. It's like get luck. You know, you get lucky if you're actively in the business looking for it. And they're actively in the business of improving. And, you know, the call to arms new chant and song they came up with on the fly was just amazing. That's one of the coolest stories ever in sports. I mean, you hatch it out at the pre-tailgate, and by the third time you do it, the whole stadium's doing it. That was just awesome.
100%.
So we don't know what's next. That's the cool part. We really don't. We don't know where this goes. We don't know. I have a sense it's going to be good, and we know we're going to have major challenges along the way, but the overall trend is our friend here.
The one thing that is pointed out to me when people experience it for the first time is like, how is this fan base feels like it's been here for 20 years. And it's obviously been here for a year and a half, although a couple of years, I think, prior to, people don't give them enough credit for building that up. Yeah. Once this team was announced leading up to the actual first game. But do you get people coming up to you saying that? And how was that did that exceed your expectations to have a fan base that feels like it's been there for so long?
Yeah, I get that question all the time.
From other clubs that are looking there. There's so many clubs beginning.
Yeah, you got to be a bit of a rock star when you go to these other
MLS
places.
meetings?
You got managers like, how did you get this? Oh, come on.
It's Tom Penn.
No, not so much. Look, we're one of all of the expansion teams are having major success in their own way. You know, Atlanta, we all know how successful that has been, and we're all chasing them, both on the pitch and in commercial activity and impacting community. They're best in class with what they've had. It's sort of our turn to have our sophomore season and build on the success of the first year. But then you see what's happening in Cincinnati and the buzz around that. So there's a bit of a tailwind here. There's a bit of a, rising tide factor where we're benefiting from that. So this isn't all us. We're just sort of doing it in our own way, and we're trying to do it the LA way. So that part's fun, and there's no question that there's a buzz around the electricity of the 32-52, and that whole thing has got everybody buzzing for sure.
You are from the Midwest. You professionally spent a lot of time in the Pacific Northwest. You've got this LA feel, if I look at this guy's LA, I could see you. I've seen you there in the South Bay, enjoying life, hitting the beach.
Hey, it's easy to get used to.
Some people don't. Some people are like, I can't get used to it, but you just, and I think people get that feeling from you when they deal with you, because I think you have to have a Los Angelino feel to shoot from the hip with folks here.
Well, there's a little bit, the opportunity that I had that others don't was we were charged with trying to bring Los Angeles together. So I'm not here just as a transplant with my head down doing my job. I guess I am. But my job is necessarily to try to unite the world city, right? That's what our mission is. Well, first I had to figure out what that meant, what the city was. So in terms of understanding LA, I learned it with the eye towards how could we add value and bring people together. But you first have to understand just how diverse and disparate it is, and try to come up with a theme and a way to describe it. And so the advantage of that is I've had the chance to fall in love with it, the bigger it, and, you know, not only get to understand what she is, but like love her, the city. And
Easy to love.
And then what I'm so proud of and what is so joyous is seeing these expressions of Los Angeles at our games.
Yeah.
You know, in the stands, on the pitch, the way John built the team to be a mirror image of the city and to be creative and on the front foot and getting after it and scoring goals and exciting and interesting. That's what LA is. So, and the civic pride that this is creating is really what sports is all about. And it's just so fun to be a part of the dynamic experiment in action.
I'll just to connect the dots there with, because LA, every time you see the portrayal of LA, it's such an amazing, vibrant city. You see Santa Monica Pier, you see the Hollywood sign, you see this. I go, man, you're barely touching the tip of the iceberg. There's so many incredible parts of the city that I think this club is doing a big part in opening up. And I think people come in, see LA, go, I can spend 3 weeks here and not see the whole place.
Well, that's the point I wanted to make. I love working with my coworkers, and I think we do a pretty good job of showing how the crowd is a mirror of Los Angeles. But
Yeah.
I feel like some people still don't get it. Like, if you haven't been here, you still don't get it, because you do think, like, well, where's the Hollywood sign? And, like, they know we have celebrity owners, but they're like, why don't you have more celebrities in there? They're just a part of it, man. Like, this is what's real. And I think the point is, too, when you say, like, how did you have a fan base that it seems like it's 20 years old? They were already here. They just didn't have the mirror. There was no reflection on them, right? There was
Really
nothing
well
like that.
said. Really well said.
You know?
And they all want the community. We all want a place to belong. And it's harder to do in Los Angeles because it's so diverse and spread out geographically and economically, and with the diversity of ethnicities and everything. And so this chance to come together under this black and gold flag has really resonated with people.
We've done a little bit of PR for our club, which we always do. But I want to. Max brought up a little story, because you guys have a connection, ESPN connection. Max told me, why don't you tell me the story about coming out here and trying to get the job? Because I just want to hear a little bit about Tom and Max's connection at ESPN and Max trying to get his job.
I heard you were going to take the president's position here at LAFC. So you remember I'd come and meet you a few times. And I go, it wasn't like to ask for the job. I go, hey, Tom, how's it going?
Planted the seed.
I planted the seed, but there was the very first, I think it was the second time I came in, you were at the old office in Wilshire. And I told my wife, she goes, what are you doing? And I always said to myself, there's so many things I really wanted. I didn't go all the way through with it. And I talked to her, and I go, look, I set a meeting with you, and I said, I'm going out to LA from Connecticut for a day, just basically to meet you. And I went there and I saw some friends, saw some family, but I was there for 24 hours and I flew back. But that was basically the thing. So, like, if you canceled that meeting, I would have been kind of screwed. So I had to be back the next day for work. But it was a lesson to me about really what was required to do it. I knew when I talked to you, even though there was no stadium, there was nothing. But I wanted to get back to LA too. But when I saw that and then I spoke to you, then I really had a good feeling. I spoke to my wife when I got there, and then it felt good. But I remember I just keeping up appearances, kind of bugging you over like 3 years.
Yeah, what was it like having Bredos just
like, hit the brakes.
Yeah, continue to bother you over that time?
It was good. Look, from the beginning, I felt like Max would be a perfect match with us. It was just a question of timing, and our initial conversations were 3 years before we were going to play. So there wasn't, you can't hire.
Couldn't do a hard sell.
Right. It's a little premature. So, and there were other really talented broadcasters that wanted to play a similar role and had reached out and talked, but knowing Max and how talented he is and how versatile he is and the ability to unleash his creativity through all these sorts of various means we have, including a podcast like this.
You also had suggested, and I haven't ruled it out, is about doing some sort of variety show up at Free Play, which I'm completely down.
Yeah,
and I could do some characters.
Yeah,
my Sean Connery impression.
You should do a Sean Connery.
You do it without cameras
every week.
Be on it too.
We should do a serious show where you're Sean Connery interviewing me or somebody on football.
Done. Free Play Monday nights, Tuesday nights. They have trivia on Monday night, Tuesday nights.
I'll pay for that. I'll pay to see that. But no, thanks for joining us. You're doing a great
get outta
job.
here.
No, it's been great. And, we're just getting started with all our content, too. There's just so much more we can do, right?
Thanks, Tom. That's all we wanted to talk about. Me. Appreciate it.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
Max just wanted to get that on the record and just
Hey,
wrap
and
it
by
up.
the way, I'm ready to do a taste
Of LAFC?
of LAFC. We got to go eat some Lebanese food.
Oh, perfect. Because this is the part that you don't know. You feel like the all-American guy, but your Lebanese background.
Yeah.
I was in London, actually. I had some great Lebanese food.
It's all great.
But it is all great. But this is the one
I
thing
would
about
take
Lebanese
anything.
food that gets really competitive, because there are some crossovers with some Middle Eastern cuisine and maybe some North African cuisine, and they all claim it. They all say it's ours. The kibbeh, the tabbouleh.
Yeah, well, they all want the Lebanese stuff.
But is it safe to say that's where it all began?
It's where civilization started. We come from the Phoenicians. We invented everything.
But that's what I hear from the Persians too. They say Iran, oldest country in the world. Like, okay, I'm not getting involved. I just want to eat well. But that's all. You're on with that.
All right, let's do it.
You got your spot though. We went to a good Persian place with Beta Shore, so
Yeah,
we can
I
have a
saw
good
that. I
compare
saw
contrast.
that and made me think. Well, we got to give my people a chance here.
I'm hungry now.
That's what this show does. We make connections. We make food connections. And again, we take little segues and alleyways. Well, Tom, I do want to thank you so much for coming on. And I want to add on to Max's vibe about how you've kind of fostered a different kind of culture here. And it's a story that I tell people, and I told Max today. It was right here, PC. I was working, my phone rings, and it had a number that I didn't recognize, and I picked it up, and hello, couldn't hear the person. I hung it up. Phone rings again, same number. I'm like, man, it must be something important. It was a local number. Pick it up, and it's you. And you say, hey, Vince, can you hear me? And I said, yeah, I can hear you, Tom. What's up? You go, hey, man, it's your birthday. Happy birthday. And honestly, a lot of people say to me, yeah, it's just a phone call on your birthday. I go, but you don't understand. I've worked at other places that are just as big and have just, people like that, and they don't do that. They don't and you don't have to. And I think that's that vibe of we can feel like we're in this together. It's not just us talking about it. It legitimately was. And then you asked me what I was up to.
Tear
and-
up there.
Yeah, you asked me what I was up to, and I was like, I'm working. And you said, well, I mean, that's what you do. Just keep creating. And it was just one of those moments where I was like, hey, man, he doesn't have to do that.
No.
That's awesome.
Yeah, look, it's hard to find the times and the places to let your coworkers know you care. And that's sort of been my thing on birthdays. I like to call and just say, I know and I care. And thank you for what you do for us. Because the truth is, every one of you guys and everybody else at LAFC, you're giving of your life for the mission. And you're giving most of your day. Your awake hours are just completely focused on adding value, and that needs to be recognized, and it's so appreciated by all of us. And it's critical to the success of the club. So, happy birthday, guys.
Yeah.
But you extend it to us, and you make time for us all the time, but you're also with everyone. The owners, you know what I've noticed you with the owners? These are like the who's who of LA. Magic Johnson, Peter Guber, Will Ferrell, Larry Berg, Brandon Beck, guys that are, the creme de la creme of their industry. And you keep them. I've seen you in the room with them. You keep them grounded. You take jabs at them, and there's this really gregarious, fun exchange, and I see it in their eyes that they love to deal with you. So you make time for us, you make time for them. That's a full day.
They're great. We have the best ownership group, and the esprit de corps amongst our group is just top notch. Everybody at their best. Just a lot of mutual respect.
There's a lot of them, but you have to carve out a little time for all these.
It's light.
All the owners.
It's light and playful, and everybody knows how they just want to help.
Okay.
It's sort of the spirit of the club, and they want to. Everybody's proud of it, and this is their town. Almost all of them, or they love Los Angeles if they're remote from Asia, and it's been great. That's been one of the great privileges of this. It's not people say, oh my God, it must be hard with all those owners.
That's
it's
what it is.
like, heck no, it's freaking fun.
But you say that, Tom, but a lot of places, one owner, one president, one general manager, and that's the message. But then you have all these owners, and you make it easy, but I feel like it can't be, because there's never any kind of discussions about, it seems like a singular discussion, as you touched on. And that's, I think, very hard to achieve.
Well, we got a great dynamic with our lead managing owners, with Peter Guber, these guys that all care and all have tremendous insights and are all willing to listen to each other. So we keep coming up with great decisions as a group, which is a lot of times better than one wacky billionaire making his own decisions and doing whatever he or she wants, because that can go a bit haywire.
Yeah, you kind of the checks and balances. It kind of works out really well. All right. I could be here for a while, but we'll probably go down some slippery slopes, which is going to be bad for me at the end of the day.
Yeah, good thing we're doing this, around noon instead of a later time.
All right.
All right. Anything else you want to? Anything you're really proud of? Bringing Richard Roscoe on board.
I'm proud of you guys. I'm proud to be a part of the podcast.
This guy's the best guy to work for ever. Awesome.
Yeah, wrap the segment, but again, we got that on tape.
Yes, thank you. Good.
Thanks, guys.
We'll just have that on us. Don't hit, and he didn't hit the red at all. You give me that. All right. We'll be back. We're going to talk about the Seattle game and get ready for not one but two matchups with the Sounders. That's next on Inside LAFC.